Hey guys, it's Tessa. So today I am working on recreating something that's very exciting. I play a lot of Disney DreamLight Valley and I got these gloves, or they're mittens, but the game calls them gloves. I got these gloves and I desperately want to recreate them because I also got some mittens that I want to recreate, but I want to start simple first because I'm not good at cables and I'm not good at very small amount of stitches on double points yet. So the plan is we're going to recreate these mittens using the Basic Stitch Anti-Pilling by Lion Brand. And this is the color Pine Heather. This is kind of the closest green I could find to matching the picture. Obviously, since the picture's from a video game, I'm not going to find anything very perfect. But this is kind of the closest as I could get. Also, looking at the picture, you'll see that there's ribbing on the bottom on the lower cuff section and on the top cuff for the fingers. I'm more or less going to keep that the same. I think the only difference I'm going to make is instead of having the whole body part of the fingerless glove be just basic knit stitch, I think instead I'm gonna have a portion of the outer edge be done in that ribbing still, just so that there's like a texture to it still and there's still something to like look at basically. But yeah, that's what I think I'm leaning to currently. And I will check in once I get through the first ribbing, maybe? I don't know. I think I'm gonna do a couple tests and I'll check in then, I think. Alright, see you soon. Okay, so I ended up making a swatch last night of what I'm planning to do for the fingerless mitts. It's similar to, I think I already said this, the maze mitts pattern I did. I'm just switching something on it. So for the maze mitts pattern, you would have some rows of purling and then some rows of ribbing still. Instead, I'm just gonna do it the other way to kind of keep the consistency. So half of the stitches, or I think like a third of the stitches, will be done normally in the stockinette, while the rest of it will be done with the ribbing. I think it looks really nice. Like, I think this pattern looks nice. So I think my main plan for doing it this way is so that I don't have to deal with the finger increases for the thumb, because I'm hoping, because the ribbing will be able to stretch a bit, that will just look fine. Because if I look at the picture again, there's no indentation of making that like gusset or anything like that for the thumb section. And again, it is a video game, so I do have a little bit of leeway with this, especially if we look at one of these other patterns or gloves. Again, it doesn't have that gusset in there. Like you'll see here, it just doesn't have that gusset in there. I think gusset's the right word. I might be wrong. That doesn't matter though. My point is it doesn't have the increased stitches right there in that section. So I'm assuming, with basic knowledge of knitting, I can do the increase method where half or just over half the stitches all are done with ribbing and the rest of it's just done in the basic stockinette. And I think it looks good even with it not stretched, but I'm assuming with the stretch it'll be able to still do that. That's what I'm thinking. We'll find out if that makes sense or not. But I'm going to get started on this and I will check in a little bit. I started working on the first mitten glove. I think I'm going to use those interchangeably, so sorry. But I started on the first one. First thing I did was chain 46, and then I just did knit one, purl one all the way around, and then I knit 13, then kept doing the knit one, purl one for a bit, and then on the last 8 stitches I just did knitting again, because the aim here, the goal, is when I put it on, it's not long enough yet, but for example, when I put it on here, the non-ribbed stitches are on the side with the thumb, so that it just makes it a little easier when I cast off. I don't really have to do too much. I thought about doing it this way. I don't hate this way. I just don't think I love it. I think I prefer the way I'm trying to do it currently, which is like this. I think this looks really nice. My plan is, since it's supposed to be a little bit longer, it's supposed to be like mid-arm, This still leaves about 4 to 5 inches, about 5 inches from my elbow. So I'm just barely at the wrist now then. Just a little bit of a better shot for you, if it'll focus. There we go. So you see the ribbing, and then it goes back to normal. It's a little chaotic, but I have my little cheat sheet here for the second glove because I noticed, because I'm smart, anytime I try to make two of the same item, when knitting, something's always wrong. So I'm hoping by doing this and writing out everything I'm doing, I can prevent any major issues? Question mark? I don't really know. Because I've tried doing this previously with a straight up written pattern and somehow messed it up, specifically with those maze mitts. I don't know what I did wrong. I think I did the increases wrong on the thumb for the second mitt, so I increased too quickly, so I like skipped 2 rows or something. I don't know, doesn't matter. My plan is tonight to finish this mitten, hopefully, and then start the second one. Alright, so I have good news and not so good news. Good news, I finished the first fingerless glove. Not so good news. My thumb doesn't fit in the thumb hole. I can make it fit, but it's really tight and not supposed to be like that. So, I'm gonna do my least favorite thing in the world and rip it all out. I'm just gonna rip it all the way out to where the first row is, the row before I separated for the thumb and the fingers, and then check back in. So the problem I think was I just didn't have enough stitches cast it off to start. I cast it off 5. I think I should have cast it off 8 instead. I think that it just would have been slightly better because then I pick up 8 on the top, so it's 16 in total instead of 10. Because like my thumb fits, it's just not very comfortable and it's a little bit too tight. So I think the solution to that is just having a couple extra stitches. So I'm gonna go do that and then I will check in again, hopefully with it finished correctly this time. Okay, so I finished the modification of the glove, and it works. I think overall I could afford to lose about an inch worth of stitches, so that's about 4-ish stitches all the way around, just because in my head, I thought the ribbing would take a little bit more width away, but it doesn't, and I don't know where I thought that came from. I still don't think I'm going to try and steam this guy and see if it changes anything, see if it does change the sizing a little bit or shrink it at all. Since it is 100% acrylic, it should. But yeah, I'm going to get started on the second mitt and check in when we're done. Okay, I finished the second mitt. I do like the slightly smaller size. I think the only thing I changed was 4 stitches. So the larger one is this guy. You can see it's a little loose here and it's really loose with the fingers. And then for the slightly smaller one, you can see it has a bit more shaping here along the side of the arm and isn't so bunchy right there. Still a little looser on the fingers, but it's not so baggy compared to the larger one. I cast off the same number of stitches on the thumb still to keep the sizing correct. Overall, I like them a lot. I'll maybe remake a glove so that they match, but honestly, it's so minimal, I don't think it really matters. And I don't know realistically how often I'll wear these because they are longer mitts, and I typically, when I'm cold, just wear sweatshirts and then like ball my fingers up in gloves. Fun thing though, I didn't even touch the second ball of the Basic Stitch anti-pilling, so this does help me if I do ever want to list these. All I need to do is buy 1 ball of yarn each time, and I can make 2 of the mitts, which is really nice. I think I'm going to work on making this a written pattern, maybe. I do want to start releasing some patterns, but I also want testers. And I don't have a very large following on social media just yet to where testers would really be applicable. But still, I do want to start releasing patterns soon or eventually, so I'm going to eventually work on creating this as a pattern, like a long and short version, and go from there. But yeah, that is it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them below, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.